Dr. BAOUGujarat Ambedkar Open University.
Hello friends, Namaskar. I, Dr. Bhavna Trivedi, an Assistant Professor of English, welcome you all to Dr. BAOUGujarat Ambedkar Open University video lecture series. Today, in this session, we are going to discuss one essay, that is The Function of Criticism at the Present Time by Matthew Arnold, and that is unit number 13 of paper 3, Western Literary Criticism of MA Semester 1. Matthew Arnold, the first modern critic, is one of the most influential figures of Victorian period. He has prolifically contributed in the field of poetry, prose and criticism. Right? His works show deep concern for spiritual, intellectual and social issues. Arnold had deep faith in the transformating power of ideas, and most of his works, show intellectual and emotional struggles of the Victorian age, especially we can say a spiritual uncertainty, melancholy, and the search for meaning in that particular age of rapid industrial and scientific development. In the works of Arnold, we find the tension between past and present, embodying a longing for simplicity and a spiritual clarity of the previous time. Major works of Arnold are Dover Beach, The Scholar Gypsy, Essays in Criticism, and Culture and Anarchy. We find the poetic genius of Arnold in his very remarkable work Dover Beach. It is a dramatic monologue lamenting the loss of Christian faith in England, especially in the beginning of 19th century. It is a poignant reflection of the deep sense of loss, especially the erosion of faith and cultural values in the so-called modern world. And this particular feeling of loss is captured by portraying the sea of faith, leaving behind the world of confusion and doubt. Here we find the classical influence of that particular classicism in his pursuit of balance, unity, universality with personal and intellectual tone, revealing the conflict within. And this particular reflection generally we find in almost all Victorian artists. In Arnold we find the amalgamation of intellectual depth and optimism and its ability to resonate with the spiritual and existential questions of his time, searching for meaning in a complex and uncertain world. This particular essay, The Function of Criticism, is one of the essays of the collection Essays in Criticism, which was published in 1865. This essay is important for its defense of criticism and theory, right, regarding its place and function in the world of literature. For Arnold, criticism is not only a kind of evaluating process, but it is a creative force that shapes the culture. He emphasizes the importance of objectivity, the intellectual curiosity, and the dissemination of ideas to create an environment which is conducive to creativity. Arnold says great literature is the product not only of the man, but of his time, of the time in which he lives, right? So in that case, says the works of Arnold, in that case, Arnold says the works of criticism is to, furnish the ideas and intellectual atmosphere. Arnold says, I quote, the grand work of literature, literary genius, is a work of synthesis and exposition, not of analysis and discovery. Its gift lies in the faculty of being happily inspired by a certain order of ideas when it finds itself in them, of dealing divinely with these ideas, presenting them in the most effective and attractive combinations, making beautiful works of them. Unquote. In this particular essay, Arnold comes up with three major functions of criticism. Arnold says the first one, it is the duty of criticism to see the things as they are. That means the critics are supposed to be very fair and honest in their evaluation, right, of any piece of literature or any idea. They are supposed to be very objective. There should not be any subjective note. They must be free from any kind of, bias and prejudice. Secondly, Arnold says criticism should spread the best ideas to others. Critics should share their insights to help people understand and appreciate whatever is best. Thirdly, Arnold says criticism should create a space where creativity can thrive. And by spreading great ideas, criticism should encourage thoughtfulness, right? It should help people, build great environment for great writers, thinkers, and artists, right? To express whatever is best in them. A main argument over here of Arnold is that genius is ineffectual without solid matter, and it is the duty of criticism to supply such a kind of solid matter. And due to this tremendous lofty function of criticism, it must be pure. Arnold says, criticism must not be mixed with any kind of political and practical considerations, right? Real criticism, right, Arnold says, must try to know, must try to know the best that is known and thought in the world, and therefore it should keep the fresh current of ideas in circulation, and and it must be thoroughly disinterested. Here disinterestedness matlab total impartiality. No criticism should be partial to any kind of consideration, taking race, history, biography, etc. Right? Arnold's plea here is that curiosity is the great intellectual necessity, right? For without it, it is not possible to know the best. Further, he advises that Englishmen must turn their attention abroad, right? For a knowledge of best requires far more than a mere knowledge of the best in English, right? Arnold, whatever plea here discussed is, Arnold terms this particular thing as an age of national self-criticism and self-culture, which he calls an epoch of concentration, right? And he says at the end of epoch of concentration, we can have ages of expansion in which ideas have been nourished and strengthened, and such a kind of atmosphere will express themselves in great literature. And this particular accomplishment is equivalent to a creative activity which is as gratifying as actual production of masterpiece, right? And this nobility, the nobility of this particular conception of criticism is best expressed expressed, right? Let me quote his own words. I quote, "In an epoch like those of Aeschylus and Shakespeare is the true life of literature. There is the promised land towards which criticism can only beacon. That promised land, it will never be ours to enter, and we shall die in the wilderness. But to have desired to enter it, to have saluted it from afar, is already perhaps the best distinction among contemporaries. It will certainly the best title to esteem with posterity." Unquote. Right? This is all for today. We will be discussing the same essay in the next session. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः परः